Gotta be fucking kidding.
Here's the first movie.
Did you know I'm utterly insane?
Peel that pig and slice him thick.
The body count is always bigger.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
The fucking trees walked in those movies.
Hi, doggy.
What a story, Mark.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
It's just like your opinion, man.
Life moves pretty fast.
If you want your sequel to become a franchise.
37 dicks. In a row?
I'm your number one fan.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Marathon Me, and we're back with the third installment in the American Pie franchise.
It's a beautiful day. It's a wedding, guys. It's a special occasion.
It's a beautiful day for a wedding, and what a wedding that it is!
The invitations, the wedding bands, the flowers, the cake. But you can't have a wedding without the proposal.
So, Michelle, I'm gonna ask you something that I've never asked you before.
Is it kinky?
No, I'm
you
not.
don't have to be embarrassed.
Michelle? Yo, Michelle, you can't do this here. I think you need to stop. Okay, keep going. Oh my God. Michelle, seriously now, you should stop. Left.
I made it. Where's Michelle? In the washroom? You know, I was so nervous she was going to spot me. I got the ring right here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the rock on this baby, Mr. Big Spender. Hope you didn't blow your wad on it, son.
Not yet.
I wish your mother could be here right now. I'll tell you
me.
that. And I know you're excited. I mean, I can see it. Your face looks like you're ready to burst.
Yes, I am.
I just can't believe my son's going to pop the question. What was that?
What was what?
Why don't you walk me to my car?
No, Dad, I'm up, Dad, please don't. Dad!
Help! Your penis! Your pants!
Dad, calm down, Dad. I'm gonna take care of this. Everybody quiet, please! Michelle.
Hello, dear.
Dad. The ring. Michelle Annabeth Flaherty, will you marry me?
Yes.
This movie pretty much takes it's pretty much split into like two parts, right? Like it right away in the middle, like right in the middle of the film is where like it goes from planning to the actual wedding.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think that it works.
Yeah. Honestly, I agree. I think as a whole the movie works. It kind of it has like basically I think two main protagonists in this movie, honestly. You've got obviously Jim and Michelle, you know, their whole wedding stuff, but I think someone that really takes the spotlight in this movie is our boy, good old Steven Stifler.
Yeah, Stifler is like the one that changes the most through this, right?
Yeah,
like,
honestly.
This is definitely like his movie. And and this the wedding was like my favorite for a long time.
Same that's really funny. Same here, honestly. That was the one like I'd always come back to the most.
Yeah, it's really, really strange that was what my memory served me. But when rewatching it, I don't see it. I don't see it as much.
Really?
Yeah, I think that it has some really high highs, but some really low lows that are just like, it just drags.
Yeah, you reckon?
I think it drags at moments and just have some set pieces and places that I'm just like, I am ready for this to finish.
Yeah, I'm thinking of some of the set pieces, and I think I will agree with you on some of them, yeah. I think that, coming back to this movie, I kind of get why this is the one I'd come back to the most as a child, but I think a lot of that rests solely on Seann William Scott's performance in this movie, honestly. I think that a lot of the lower points of this movie are kind of saved from his performance and Stifler's character. I think given give this performance like an actor, someone like akin to Pauly Shore or someone like that, this movie would have been so much worse. I think the film is honestly carried by Seann William Scott. He really shows off his comedic chops in this movie, I reckon.
That's where like the most heart in this movie comes from as well, I think. But like immediately going into this film though, you can see the difference in the cinematic fleek to this film.
This movie, like the characters, have grown and matured.
It has. It's now matured to a letterbox aspect ratio, which changes the entire feel of the movie.
Oh my god, yeah. And then also has like it looks a lot more professionally made, like cinematography wise. Like it has almost like it kind of it has like a very like difference in cinematography akin to something like Scream 4, where it looks very kind of polished, maybe a little bit too polished, if that makes sense.
Well, it also makes sense because this is the most expensive out of all the American Pie movies.
Oh yeah,
this is a $55 million budget, where even like Reunion didn't exceed that.
Yeah.
So when you look through all of it, and then obviously none of the freaking direct-to-video
what?
ones did.
You're kidding.
So that's why it would look so clean and proper, because of that big budget.
I think it also fits it also fits the tone of the movie. You know, it's a wedding. Everything needs to be prim and proper and beautiful. And I think the cinematography carries that a lot. It carries that conveys that idea a lot in this movie.
Like probably $55 million is like the standard budget for American weddings anyway.
Yeah, no, honestly.
It sort of makes sense. And like box office wise, it again made like $232 million.
Jesus.
So
how do you go from making that and like making like a decent amount of money to just being like 2 years later, hey, let's just make direct-to-video spin-offs? Like, how the hell? And then not make another mainline entry until like 2012. Like, what was going through their heads? You know what I mean?
It must have just been like, it's honestly probably good because for the fact that it's like, what do we do with Jim and Michelle? And
is
Kevin
true.
now. Like they're now like, now that they're married. What do we do with it? They can't now go right away into having sex issues.
That is true, though. That is true. It's like, there's not really many places that you can go from a wedding and all that.
And then also, we've got to also put into consideration that we're looking at box office.
Yeah.
We're not looking at, like, video rental market sort of thing. So that's where probably, like, even though that, like, somehow these like, American Pie Presents movies have, like, very minimal sort of like box offices.
Yeah.
A lot of them though say in brackets like sales.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
$27 million in sales.
Honestly, I could see American Wedding not doing so well in the home video market with like the 14-year-old boys and all that. Because like, what boy's gonna look at a movie called American Wedding and be like, yes, let's put this on at the sleepover?
That's a very good point. That is a very, very good point.
Yeah, I just thought of it now and I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. If I was like 14 and I saw a movie called American Wedding, I wouldn't rent it for the boys at the sleepover, you know what I mean?
Maybe that's why, like, that's why in Australia, I'm pretty sure that I've only seen it advertised as American Pie: The Wedding.
Yeah. That's what I've always called it for the longest time.
Yeah. That's the only thing that I've actually seen through experience. What the film is called.
Yeah.
So maybe they took that. they realized, wait a minute, our like horny teenage audience aren't gonna want to watch this movie called American Wedding. Let's just bring back that it's American Pie, the like sexual undertones of the word pie for some reason, just getting people horny. So then put that in the title, and then they're fine. They're covered.
Hey kids, don't worry. It's still American Pie, guys. Please just buy our DVDs. Come on,
exactly. I think that the cold open in this is one of the best. I love this cold open.
I like it. I think, you know, it's very hard to top the cold open of the first movie, honestly. And I feel like all the other movies, they try really hard to recapture the magic of the first film's cold open. And I think like all of them are like, like this one and then the other ones, they're fine. But for me, it's like they kind of lose a bit of the original initial impact of the first movie. And like also the first movie kind of kept it simple with like how humiliating the cold open was, for me at least. Like the other ones kind of get a bit too over the top for my liking.
The stakes keep on raising more and more. First one is, oh no, your parents. Second one is, oh no, your parents and another person's parents. And this time it's an entire restaurant that are seeing your dick.
Yeah, that it's just like obviously it's fucking American Pie, so obviously I'm not asking for like fucking beat for beat realism.
So you've never seen this happen before in a restaurant?
Not that I remember, no. But like keep in mind, like the only kind of restaurants I'd be going to for the longest time was KFC.
Oh, okay.
And you know,
I've been to a lot of fancy restaurants because this happens a lot.
Oh, okay, yes.
Man, it's a bit uncanny. It's a freaking epidemic.
I think that might have happened when I went on my first date with my most recent ex. Honestly, I think someone was getting their dick sucked at the table next to me.
And then their dad showed up, and then was there just to like support him.
Because I thought I saw Eugene Levy at that restaurant.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but like
that's great.
But because like, you know, I was really engrossed in this girl's conversation, I didn't want to like, you know, seem rude and turn around and like look at the person getting his dick sucked and Eugene Levy pulling him out of his chair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fair. That's very, very fair.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I had to make that sacrifice. You know what I mean?
I love how the whole restaurant just goes quiet. Where I feel like that in that moment, everyone would have something to talk about.
Oh my lord! Yeah, I could already just hear like some old conservative woman or man being in the back of me like, oh well, I never, not in my day, like some old southern woman. Well, I never.
It would more just be like, what is going on over there? I went on a date recently. I went on a first date
you got your dick sucked under the table.
That did not happen. No.
What? No.
I went on a first date with someone who we were talking about. We got into the subject of otters, and she's like, I don't like otters.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, what? How? How don't you like otters? Otters are the cutest animal alive.
Who doesn't like otters? What the fuck?
And she's like, you know that otters are rapists, right? And I'm like, what?
Are they actually? Oh, I feel like all animals are rapists, though.
Apparently, though, like otters are super rapists. Like they rape a lot.
They're just like dolphins, bro. Dolphins are rapists.
Yeah. No, we were talking about a lot of rapist animals.
What a great first date conversation.
Honestly, it was great. It broke the ice.
Yeah, all right.
But like, we were talking about like otters being rapists, and I'm like, but they're cute little hands, and then I'm like, oh god, those hands do unmentionable things.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Ooh,
and when we were having this conversation, we were right next to an older couple.
Yeah.
And I could see the couple go like point at us, like a very subtle point, and be like, do you hear what those guys are talking about? Do you hear what they're actually saying?
Yeah.
And
honey, I want to get on this conversation.
They're like, man, I didn't know that otters were rapists. So then we even like our conversation, we're making dates all around us. It was perfect.
You're educating the older generations.
But I noticed this and thought it was really funny. I was like, this is awesome. I like that. There's like, like it honestly like sort of it made me feel fun. Made me feel funny. Made me feel good that we were getting like injected into other person's conversations.
Yeah.
But I did not mention it to her because one thing that I could tell very quickly is that she was a very anxious person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that I should not bring this to her attention. I'm gonna gloss over this and just pretend that it has not happened and see if I can mention it maybe
later down the road.
Later down the road, late enough that she will not get embarrassed about it, because that was our past selves. That was our past. Like, is that something that like those sort of things don't embarrass me? Do they embarrass you?
What, like just having like people here listening into weird conversations and all that? No, not at all. I say, like, dude, like we've been out a lot of times and like we talk about the most fucked shit. And like, I don't really recall any times where we've like pointed out of like other people listening in on us, but like we talk about like fuck shit or weird shit and without a care in the world, really. Like like if someone were to listen in on this conversation about us talking about like like rapey otters or anything, then like I'm not gonna be like, oh god, oh no,
I'm so embarrassed.
Oh yeah, no, like honestly, if I was on this date, if I was you on this date, I probably would have like said like, hey, this couple's listening in on us, not being
aware of the person that you're with.
Yeah, like no, I'd say to them as if they were like you or like Lawrence or someone, where they would find it funny as well, because I'm so used to like the person I am. I'm so used to like talking with people who are very similar to me, and sometimes when I'm talking to someone that's not on like kind of my wavelength, I still see them as on my wavelength, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
And then like it takes me a second to be like, wait a minute, pull that quote back, Kane.
I
save for later.
I analyzed the situation and I was like, let's not talk about this yet. Let's not raise attention to this.
You're a smart man,
One thing that Charlie and I wanted to do when we were dating is we always wanted to like fake a fight and fake a scene in a restaurant.
Really?
And I always wanted to do that. We said that we would do that for our 1 year anniversary, but we didn't get there. But I think that would be really, really fun. Not to the extent though of Jim's situation here.
Yeah.
Because that
wasn't really a fight. I mean, you could.
No, I mean like the public.
Okay.
The scene, making a scene.
Yeah, making a scene. Okay, yeah.
But poor Jim gets like. It's spoiled. This is what I'm thinking about during the scene the most, is that the proposal is getting spoiled.
Yeah, it really
to Michelle. As she's under the table.
Yeah, it's their own brand of romance, you know? Like, I'm sure that any other person would be like, oh no, it's ruined! But I think it's very on brand for Jim and Michelle's relationship, and for Jim as a character, as a person. And I'm sure that they look back on that proposal with very fond memories. At least I like to think so. I hope so.
It's a situation that why I think I like this one the most, in the relativity of cold opens of this franchise, is that this only occurred and could happen because of the unique characters in this situation.
Yeah.
Firstly, Michelle being so sexually charged that she would do it in the first place. Jim being such a pushover, and even though that he sort of like wants it but doesn't want it, but then just like doesn't say anything about it.
Kind of like indecisive in a way.
Yeah, the indecisiveness of Jim.
Yeah.
And then Eugene Levy's like painful, toxic level of support, where he will ruin every situation by being such a lovely individual.
Pushy levels of support, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't fault the man, though.
Yeah, it's like all the ingredients were perfectly there to make this most embarrassing situation ever. Yeah. But going on from this, what I also love about this movie is that the story beats make sense. It has a story.
Yeah, no, it especially compared to the first one. Like, not the first one, the second one. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult the first one. My apologies. Like even like the first one kind of has like a very like basic narrative where it's like, oh, guys trying to get laid before prom. Before prom, and then like the second one's just like things happening. This one's like an actual proper. I think the most like developed story, at least in the first three, at least.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
as of this point.
And an integral element to this story for me that I think uses its own world's logic to create a unique and convincing stakes in this world.
Yeah.
Is embodied with Michelle telling Jim about her dream wedding, and she's saying like, all eyes are going to be on me for a change. Like she does realize that Jim's whole integral thing to his character is he can't help but being the center of attention by these awkward like coincidences.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the crisis and struggle here, is that Jim doesn't want to be that and wants Michelle to be the subject finally of like also a positive thing.
Yeah, of everyone's like attention and all that. Yeah, in a positive way, like you said.
Because he is always the center of attention because of these mishaps that always occur. And I love that, because that takes the unique character that is continuous of Jim in this franchise and makes the crisis out of that.
Yeah.
It's a very personal crisis that like resides in this story.
Yeah, no, I reckon it works really well, honestly.
And then like of course then there's the secondary sort of narrative that's going on, which is fueling the dynamic of Stifler not being invited to the party.
Oh, yes. Oh, these bloody... What is with his introduction? Why is he driving a school bus?
Oh, yeah,
you know, the scene where he's introduced before he gets to Jim's house, he's in a school bus, and I'm like, did he... Like, I thought he, like, stole the bus or something. Like, when I watched this as a kid, I'm thinking, like, did he steal that bus? For the longest time, I just thought, like, he just stole a school bus, and he's just...
And then they just never talk about it again?
They never mentioned it. Because, like, he thinks it's, like, a graduation party, like, a college graduation party, I think, when he gets to the wedding... pre-party or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Oh yeah, the engagement party.
Engagement party, yeah, wedding pre-party. We should start calling it that from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think like he came in thinking it was like a graduation party or something, and maybe the school bus was like a party bus type thing.
But this secondary narrative that's happening with Stifler is fueled by the primary one, right?
Yeah.
Of Jim not wanting Michelle to be the main sort of the main object of attention, where like Stifler always steals the show and will like mess up every situation that he comes and touches. So then it also, I think the one thing that we were talking about during the entire movie, right? You, me, and Jacob was like, but like just invite Stifler. Like Stifler has a right to be there because he's been there throughout the entire. The entire love story, like
literally.
They lost their
at his house. They lost. Jim and Michelle got together.
Jim lost his virginity and got together with Michelle at his house.
Oh my lord!
And then all these Stifler was there, and the only reason that they were at the at the summer house, at the beach house,
he's basically the architect of their bloody relationship, man.
Yeah, indirectly the architect.
Like, oh my lord, it's ridiculous. It's like there's a line in Reunion where they're talking to Stifler, and they're like, Stifler, you're a dick. But you're a fun dick, and you're our dick.
Yeah,
and it's like, he's a dickhead, but he's been there with you guys for like the longest time, and it's ridiculous. Why not just invite him? Like, come on, man.
Well, I think that what makes this convincing is firstly that the whole issue with like wanting to make Michelle, like wanting to give Michelle the wedding that is flawless, and things don't go wrong because that's what has happened in their entire life so far. Things just always go wrong. So this like sort of agent of like Stifler is an agent of chaos indirectly without trying to be, and like that makes sense why he doesn't want to invite him, as well as I think the fact too that like I definitely know that there are people that I probably wouldn't want to be at my wedding because of similar thing. I think. Do you have people in your mind that are a bit of a stifler to you that like
somewhat? Yeah. Somewhat.
There's even now with me leaving to Sydney soon and the prospect of me having a party, a going away party. There are particular people that it's like, man, if you come, you will be the center of attention and take away from what this party is about.
This party is about me!
Well, with like the wedding, right, is that the party is about Michelle and Jim's love, where Stifler would make it about hooking up and getting laid and make it about sex, where with like the, not going to say names, but the particular person that I probably didn't want to come to this going away party, and with that, it's like it would have made it more about getting drunk and smashed an epic party time where that isn't what it's going to be about. I want it to be like a sentimental goodbye to people. Yeah. so like I get that epic drunk party time.
Oh my god.
But I get like I get that, but also I'm probably more of the uptight, tense Jim,
the Jim
archetype
of the scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Say,
yeah. But so that's where it like I think it is a grounded sort of issue in this film.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's nice that we finally get some good side plots that actually like that. We got the A plot and the B plot. They're like really like. They feel like they gel well together. I feel like a lot of the side plots in the first two movies, like even if they were good side plots, they kind of felt disconnected from the main narrative. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
like little mini stories, like little mini segments of an anthology or something like that.
And they feel very inconsequential in the other films.
Yeah,
everything
literally.
here interacts with that they're at a wedding and every character's intentions surrounding this wedding, right? So it all like goes in very well together. One sort of side quest in this film that I don't like, and this is where I'm like, oh my god, and this is where I sort of cringe and just want this segment to be finished, is when they go into the city.
Oh god, here we go.
And the movie just drags, and they find themselves in a gay club.
Oh yeah, that's a scene that didn't age well.
It has not aged well. It's like,
Lord.
and it's one of those interesting. It's a really interesting time capsule. This scene, right, where it's still like it's not explicitly like gay hating, but it still is framing gay people as the other to this to the straight dominant.
It's less hateful, but like I think it's very like it's stereotyping them, honestly. It's very like 2003 stereotypical like gay representation and all that. And then, watching that scene, I'm just like, wow, this is early 2000s, really.
And also like it's not saying anything bad about like it's not saying that gay clubs are bad, but it's saying that for straight dudes they need to be prepared to go into a gay club.
Oh my god.
Like to be like it's still something to be prepared for, right?
Yeah, and then like the realization is terrifying.
Yeah. It really is like this innate homophobia of like being terrified by being around gay people and not expecting it, right?
Yeah, it's like
that's ingrained into this scene, and it does not age well at all.
Oh boy, no.
Oh boy.
Are you gonna talk about the dance scene next?
Oh, you can talk about the dance scene.
Oh, the blood. Yeah, when they're at the gay bar, and I think Stifler like pisses off the guy that they need to make the wedding dress.
Yeah.
Or the flowers or something like that. I don't remember.
It's the wedding dress.
The wedding dress, right. And then they get into a dance-off. I don't know if there was like, if you win this dance-off, I'll make your dress, or if it was just a dance-off, and then afterwards he's like, I'll make that dress. You have my respect kind of thing. I don't know. I don't remember, because like once the dance-off started, it's like, it was kind of a tiny bit funny, because like, oh, they're doing funny moves, but like, it just drags on so long, and it's like, for a fact that the directors will think like, oh yeah, the audience is gonna love this one. This is gonna be one of the standout moments of this movie, and it's like, oh my god.
Especially too that it's like, if we were in a normal bar, we would have to fight, but we're in a gay bar, so to earn respect, a dance-off.
Oh my lord.
That's how to earn respect from a gay man.
Like,
like that, and so that's like a function of the plot, homophobia.
Oh my god. Like, it literally, or the only thing that this scene does, it establishes two things. One, it gives them access to the wedding dress and the character of Bear.
Yeah.
Who
no subtlety, man.
Yeah, no subtlety. He has a couple funny lines later on, but like, no subtlety whatsoever. And then it establishes that Stifler is a good dancer, and then is is kind of the reason why it's kind of the reason why Stifler is invited to the wedding, really, to teach Jim how to dance, because Jim has this innate insecurity of messing up him and Michelle's first dance. That he like mentions early in the movie. So seeing Stifler bust out all these moves, Jim's like, "Hey, I'll invite him. I'm gonna use him for his moves."
That's what. Man, I do feel bad for Stifler now because he is just used through all of these movies.
Oh my lord, yeah.
He's used for his skills here, and the second one he's used for his money. And the first one, it's almost like that he's sort of used for his status and coolness to go to these cool parties.
He's used and abused, the poor man. Justice for Stifler, I say.
It is like it's a double-edged sword because also like Stifler does seem like a very awful person to be around, but still no person should be used.
Exactly.
Like that.
He may be a dickhead, but he's human. He's human, and you should treat him like such.
And and one thing that I like that like he does in this is he also is the trigger for the bachelor party.
Yeah.
Which the bachelor party is one of the best uses of awkwardness in the franchise.
See, it's funny because when I was a kid, I used to hate the bachelor party segment of the movie because I thought that dragged on too long, along with the dance scene.
Man, okay, I do have to say, I think conceptually and also execution-wise with like what happens and how intentional everything is to like avoid the awkwardness in this is great. But I do think that it is too long still.
Yeah.
And it feels like it goes for ages. And then on the freaking DVD, there's an extended bachelor party scene, which goes for like 12 minutes or something.
It's insane how long it goes. Like, yeah, I like the scene, like you said, because of its use of suspense and awkwardness.
It also uses the location really, really well.
Yeah. It's like one of the most creatively done awkward set pieces of the series, honestly.
Where like it also they would have had to do each shot and each scene multiple times to get the timing perfect.
Yeah.
Where like one of the characters exits the frame just in time to not be caught by one of the by the parents. And also I think that this as well has higher stakes because it's not Jim's parents that obviously are supporting and love him. It's the parents of Michelle who he is not like convinced yet that he's worthy.
He's still trying to like kind of win their respect and blessing and all that.
There's actual stakes to this.
Yeah, there really are, and I think that's what also makes this like a lot more of a gripping, intense scene, honestly. And plus, like it's just really funny. it's a really funny set piece, honestly.
It's also like. This is probably their biggest set piece of the movie as well, for the genre that it is, with it being a raunchy sex comedy.
Yeah.
Is that this is also the most boobs that are in the film.
Oh my Jesus Christ!
It's pretty gratuitous.
And they go all out in
they
this
do.
Scene. Oh my word!
It's like
as a young boy seeing that shit was just overwhelming. Honestly, I'm just like, oh, this is too much, man. Like I
turn it off.
16-year-old me's just like, I just grab the remote. Nah, no more. I'm done.
I agree. There's like, and this is where like the sex, the awkwardness, and the tension is turned up to 11 on all fronts.
Oh my lord. It's good. It's good. That's my critical analysis.
So after that though, we move on to the actual wedding starting.
Yeah.
And the wedding, I feel, has like it goes on for a very long time, big chunk of the movie. Doesn't drag as much, I think, as the first half.
Yeah.
Because the first half has a bit.
The first half is like a lot of setup, basically.
There's a lot of setup going on.
Some of it works, some of it doesn't, in terms of like our enjoyment and all that. But yeah, I think a lot more. Like, I think there's a lot more to do at the wedding and all that, you know what I mean? Like, a lot more to chew on.
There's here as well, is introduced when Michelle's sister comes into the picture, who is Cadence.
Yeah.
Then there's this, like, love triangle between Finch, Cadence, and Stifler.
Yeah.
And that's great. That is good.
I rewatching this, because I didn't remember the love triangle, and I was kind of worried that it was going to be, like, a genuine, like, both of them are in love with her and all that, and it was going to be, like it was going to be played very seriously, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like Finch like genuinely gets like heartbroken or whatever, but like if anything, Finch kind of doesn't even really care halfway through. He just enjoys kind of seeing Stifler just be this like pseudo nice guy to her, that he's getting more kicks out of that rather than getting with Cadence.
Oh yeah, Finch is definitely there to just like torture Stifler more than anything.
Like, I completely forgot about nice guy Stifler in this movie, so seeing that, it took me right back. I'm just like, oh yeah, this happens. Oh
that
my
is
lord,
good.
Yeah,
the role reversal of Finch and Stifler is freaking awesome.
I love that dynamic in this movie. I think it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite bits in this movie.
The birth of the Finchmeister is it's so good. It's so good.
It's something else, man. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, and like through that, I'm realizing now. So Oz obviously isn't here at the wedding. I don't know if we've said that.
Yeah, we didn't really say the elephant in the room.
Yeah, the elephant in the room is Oz isn't here.
Yeah,
they don't talk about it, right?
I swear I remember a line where they address it, but I didn't hear. I thought it was like at the end of the movie where they address it, and they don't. So I don't know if they address it earlier in the film or. Like, that's a Mandela effect, and I just don't remember. Like, they're just like, yeah, it's just been the four of us. There's only been 4 members
this whole time. Yeah,
Jim,
there's no other
Kevin,
person.
Finch, and Stifler. That's it. No one else.
That also makes sense why like Stifler is much more primary character in this one because it's like, well, they've got to fill that 4th hole now.
Yeah.
But,
I think it was because I think like Chris Klein, who plays Oz, was like, I think it was like contractual scheduling conflicts that why he didn't come back. I don't know.
Well, you know what also is like I almost forgot about is that Kevin has pretty much no story in this.
Yeah. Oh my god, Kevin is like useless in this. He's just the guy. He's just the friend. He's the friend. There's like one scene where like him and Finch are asked like who's gonna be the best man, and they're like, oh, we're both gonna be the best man and all that, and it's like, and I'm sitting there watching it and I'm thinking like, so is there gonna be like an argument between the two, like who's the real best man type thing? Is that gonna be a plot point? Nothing's done with that, and honestly I'm kind of glad because that would have just really like dragged out the film.
Because Kevin is Kevin wouldn't get into a fight. He's the level-headed everyman.
Yeah, and he's just bloody useless in this movie, honestly.
He very much is.
Like,
just
the only thing I remember him doing in this movie is getting like tied up and locked in the closet, half naked in during the bachelor party. segment. That's all I remember about him in that movie.
Maybe good that Oz wasn't here because they wouldn't have had anything for him to do.
Oh god, yeah, no, that'd be too much.
Yeah, they gave Finch something to do. Which was, have the whole Stifler dynamic. So at the wedding, the main thing that just keeps on happening is that Stifler is slowly fucking up the wedding.
Yeah.
And you see why he wasn't invited in the first place. Like, this is where...
You come to understand Jim's motivations.
Yeah, this is where I've got to defend Jim's point in the first place because it is ruining exactly what he was trying to avoid this whole time.
I mean, hell, the what's it called? The third act breakup type thing, like the low point of the story is like is caused by Stifler when all the flowers die.
Oh yeah,
due to his selfish actions.
I think that there is a line where Michelle's like, "It's ruined. The wedding's ruined."
Yeah. Oh my lord. And it's like, fair enough. Like the flowers are all destroyed and all that, but it's like. Are you really gonna cancel the entire wedding just because of a couple flowers?
But before this happens as well, I think that the whole film is trying to make us is trying to get us split between like, is Stifler a good guy? Is he not?
Yeah,
we're not quite sure.
That sounds like a good character study video analysis.
Oh my god, a wisecrack video.
Is Stifler the villain?
Is Stifler actually good? But yeah, and a Kant's virtue ethic analysis of Stifler.
Can you make that when you're in Sydney?
I totally could, I think. That would actually be really fun.
Oh my lord.
But it keeps on going between, like, is he good? Is he not? But it's just like his intentions are just, he's blinded by his, like, lust and, like, wanting to party and have a good time and get laid. But I find this really, really interesting, though, as, like, this would be my sort of, like, contention in this video essay, is that before completely fucking everything up and destroying the flowers, it's when he does leave the door open though and gets the champagne. Finch gives him a chance because a mini sort of side thing that happens here is that Jim's grandma doesn't approve of the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't really know how Stifler could have helped, but Finch at one point is like, Stifler, I'm throwing you a bone here. We actually could use your help really, really badly here. The wedding is going to be called off because, very interesting thing that, like, if the grandmother doesn't approve of the wedding, then it can't go on in Jewish tradition.
The matriarch of the Levenstein clan does not approve.
Yeah,
call off the wedding. Jim, Michelle, break up right now. Michelle,
fascinating.
Get out of our lives.
Also, seems like pretty bad planning for them to not consult her, like, before the actual wedding day.
Yeah, that's
the night before the wedding is when Michelle meets the grandmother.
Oh my, yeah, that's totally not putting enough stress on her already. Like, Jesus.
And stress on the wedding, stress on everything, because it was almost cancelled because of it.
Literally. Oh my word.
And yet Finch is saying, we actually could need your help now. You are in need.
Yeah.
And then he's like, nope. I'm about to bang Cadence, so I don't care, blah, 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 blah. And he blows it. He blows it.
Really, like, shows the real Stephen Stifler showing.
It really does.
And doing, like, the whole thing where it's like, she's right behind, he's, like, doing the embarrassing stuff, and he's like, she's right behind me, isn't she? You kind of meme. And then, lo and behold, she is.
Yeah,
and then, oh, no, they broke up.
Blows it with Cadence, but then mostly also ruins the wedding.
Yeah, more importantly, kills all the flowers, and then really just, like, causes the downfall of the wedding.
Yeah. And, like, he does have a comeback, though.
Yeah.
He does gets the flowers back by going to the florist's house at night and waking her up, somehow convincing her with his boyish charm to like get all these flowers ready in time.
I think he does like a football speech or something to get her motivated. And it's like, what, like, okay, it just happens that she is a football fan and finds that motivational speech, like, rousing. I don't know.
She has a long history of high school and college football that it just brought her back to her days of being a professional footballer.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was really interesting, honestly. Like, I don't know why they did that, but it's like, okay.
It was to give, like, relevance to him being a football coach, right?
But it's like, you don't need relevance. We know that he's a sporty guy. Like,
it's enough relevance that he needs money and a job because he's an adult.
Yeah, oh my word.
And we know that he likes sports.
It's like, hey guys, remember, he likes football, he's a sporty man. He doesn't just like sex, he has more things on his mind.
Yeah, and like he also indirectly saves the wedding by having sex with Jim's grandma.
Oh, yeah. And then and then she's, like, smiling at him.
Yeah, and she's so happy that she doesn't.
And Michelle interprets that as, like, her approval of the wedding, and it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah, and, like, well, she's just so happy by the sex that it doesn't matter, and she, like, doesn't care about the wedding at that point.
Oh, my lord.
Which, this is a very funny, interesting thing that I thought of just before. I think that Stifler... I think that there's only one actual sexual sex that occurs in this. One moment of sexual intercourse, and it's between Stifler and Jim's grandma in this film. I don't think there's any other can you think of it?
Of, like, sexual acts in this movie?
There's
actual intercourse in this movie.
Actual intercourse. There is blowjobs and like oral sex and those sort of things.
Yeah, I think you're right, honestly. I think there's only one example of intercourse. Yeah,
Jim and Michelle don't have sex.
No, they don't. They don't. Oh my lord.
At the end, Finch and Stifler's mum are in a bath together.
Yeah, but, like, he's just going down on her and all that. And oh my lord. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, there's
honestly.
only one instance in this American Pie movie.
And what a sex scene
I know,
it is.
and what a gorgeous sex scene.
Nice and hot and heavy, I tell you what, mate. Bloody hell. Oh my lord.
But this would be my sort of contention, I think, for this video essay. It would be he redeems himself, but he did, like, his true colors self-intrinsically made this issue in the first place.
Yeah.
So can he be justified as a good person because he can redeem himself and, like, make better the issue that he created? Because now they're just on the same spot than if they didn't invite him in the first place, right?
Yeah.
He didn't really make the wedding that much better, other than the
grandma's approval, really.
But yeah,
like
yeah.
technically, yeah, indirectly, like caused.
But
the,
also indirectly, that was not intentional.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It
So,
wasn't,
and
like,
it's more like I would
of the
argue
plan.
that goodness is in its intention more than the actual acts that one does. I think that a better person is someone that tries their best to make things better, and then maybe it comes out worse in the end than someone that has not good intentions but then accidentally falls into goodness.
Fair. Yeah, no, I get you.
That would be that's my philosophy. Anyway,
can't wait to see that video when it comes out.
I actually would love to do that.
Oh my
that would be
Lord.
so much fun, and I have a full contention there. But then I think that the sort of like cap to all of it would be you could argue that Stifler does have genuine love for these people and genuinely wants the best for them. So, is he good? Maybe.
Listen, I just think he's a bit autistic. That's what I think.
Potentially. Is that your contention?
My contention is maybe I think he just has some social issues, honestly, that may have gone undiagnosed, I reckon.
Man, that is a very interesting potential essay topic.
But honestly, I think I really appreciate the fact that we got a nice kind of character arc for Stifler, because I think, what works about this movie that, like, some films, I think, kind of fail at is when you give the comic relief character a lot more to do and a lot more plot relevance, it can sometimes really kill the film. Hangover 3, for example, it really heavily, like, Mr. Chow is basically the main kind of outlier in that movie, because the whole point of it is, like, they're trying to get him to, like, save, I think, Doug or something. I don't remember that. I haven't seen that movie in forever. Awful film. Awful, terrible movie.
We should do the Hangover movies at some point.
I would love to. We need to get Lawrence on for one of those.
Okay, sure.
But with that movie, because they made the comic relief character kind of like the main focus, it took away from the other characters and also made us hate Mr. Chow, because he became too much. You know, sometimes with characters like that, you need them in small doses, not as the main driving force. And I feel, that's why I'm glad that in this movie we got a lot of Stifler, but I think because of the way he's written and all that, and because we still got to spend a lot of time with the other characters because we liked them so much, he didn't feel. You didn't groan every time Stifler showed up on screen and was doing an extended bit a bit talking about fucking pussy and all that, you know what I mean?
Like, yeah, it's a really fine line to try and cross, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think with this, why it works so well is that it thematically and timeline-wise and where everyone is in their life, I think it makes sense to explore. It also explores the dynamic of like growing up and having friends that you were close with as a teenager that aren't growing up as much as you all are.
Yeah.
And growing out of a friendship, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very natural thing that everyone is experiencing, and that's what this is really.
I remember sometimes I'd have that kind of fear that like before I left high school, I was kind of worried that, like, am I going to be that guy that like kind of doesn't grow up as fast as everyone else? Like when it was 2020 and all that, I was kind of like, I kind of had that fear for a little bit where I was like, are people going to see me as the guy that has not grown up as much as they have? I don't have that fear anymore. Like, I feel like I'm maturing at the same rate as everyone else and all that, honestly. Like, at least in my eyes, I don't know what everyone else sees, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's good that you don't have that fear. And there's, also, it's like very, I think what this movie is trying to say as well that's very important is that the actual emotional connection and caring for that human being and like a mutual care is what trumps being more mature than the other person, right?
Yeah.
I had a really, really fulfilling time when I the night that I submitted my final assignment for uni the other day, and I hung out with a bunch of my JB Hi-Fi friends, and we're all very sort of different ages, and it was a very spiritual hangout. We consumed some mushrooms,
don't do drugs, kids.
And I was just like, there were moments of realization that even though that I was the youngest there, being 21, where I think there was like 21, there was 24-year-old, some like 28-year-olds, and then even like around 30, and there was no sort of there wasn't a massive divide in our maturity despite our age.
Yeah.
And even if there was, then it's the actual like connection that you have with that person that trumps that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, it's like a good excuse sometimes that it's like, oh, I've grown out of this relationship to with certain people, but obviously there isn't the emotional connection there enough to keep it going and make it worth it.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it, honestly.
Another highlight for me of this movie, which is is this one emotional beat where Eugene Levy, Jim's dad, is being there for Michelle.
Oh yeah, that was a sweet scene. I like that.
I really, really love that scene.
Yeah.
It's I didn't write down many notes during these films because I think I was just too caught up in the experience of them.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I wrote down because I'm like, I am loving this because he is consistently, Jim's dad is there for Jim and being that support person.
Yeah.
And at that moment, it's like accepting Michelle into his family.
Yeah.
That it's like he is not just the protector and the guide and like the person of guidance for Jim. He's now also that person for Michelle.
Yeah,
which
since
is
Michelle is basically now his daughter-in-law. Now.
Yeah. Oh, and that I thought was very, very fulfilling, and also it was funny as well with like the trying to be that like sort of like sexual support person for Michelle when he's like very out of his depth.
Yeah, oh my lord.
But still like trying very, very hard, and it's authentic. And
yeah, it feels just really nice and heartwarming.
And highlights how Eugene Levy is perfect for Jim's dad because he balances the comic relief and authenticity in his performance perfectly.
Just imagine Bill Murray doing that.
I was just about to say that.
I love, like I said in the first episode, I love Bill Murray, but no way he would be like Eugene.
Eugene Levy?
No, why am I forgetting? What's Jim's dad's name again?
It's just Jim's dad.
That's
Mr.
all Mr. Levinson. Yeah. Mr. Levinson would not be the same person if it was by Bill Murray. You know.
Yeah, it would be. It would be far more. I feel like a little bit more hateful. No, not hateful, but like a less sort of good spirit in all the advice that's being given.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Well, we spoke about that extensively in the first one anyway, just like this other weird reality that we could be living in.
Oh, my lord, yeah.
But then the actual wedding occurs, and I think it's a very lovely, wholesome scene where it goes off without a hitch, and all the loose ends are tied up. That's
all the eyes are on Michelle. And it's like, look, it's the most like sensible way to end the movie. Honestly,
it ends in a mature way that also isn't about sex.
And
shows that is what it's trying to be. Like, sex has been this common theme throughout the entire franchise. Of course, it's like the biggest motif of American Pie, but beneath that is the meaning in relationships that you have with other people. And that's where focus goes to the love between Jim and Michelle.
The characters have grown, and these movies have grown. And honestly, like, it feels very because like I think they planned on ending the series after like this movie, or like at least just not doing any more, because like this feels like a very like definitive end to the series.
Yeah, completely.
Before the spin-offs came out, and then American Reunion came out later on.
Well, it's sort of even like it makes sense as like the trilogy cap off, and then Reunion is like a let's see where they are now.
Yeah. Like, Reunion makes sense, like, in the grand scheme of the series and all that. Like, it makes sense. And then, obviously, we got the bloody spin-offs, which we will talk about.
Yeah, I overall, with this film, I felt like there were some really low points that are drags, but has heart and some of the best set pieces in the film. And also, like, talking about it, this is why... I think that a lot of people are having this similar thing as well, like with you, talking about it, and in retrospect, it feels like your favorite, right?
Yeah.
But then when watching it, it's not as well executed, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting is that if you write an instantaneous review of this film, I think that it is most likely going to skew a lot lower than, or more negatively, than if you think about it for a week. Maybe it's stronger in how it resonates and stays with you. But as an actual film, and the experience of watching the film isn't as strong as some of the other entries.
I reckon I agree with that, honestly. And
like with and I think like some of the low light would be the fact that you maybe don't feel the friendship as much with like from everyone in this film.
Yeah, but I feel like the movie... But like, I think with this movie, I think the friendship it's not the main focus in this movie, at least. Love. The love between Jim and Michelle, and Stifler and Jim's grandmother. That's the real emotional crux of this movie, honestly.
Yeah, you're very, very right.
I do wish that the friendship aspect was still kept in this movie. Like, it's there, but it's obviously like taking a back seat. It makes sense, but like then it just makes kind of like the other friends somewhat useless and all that. You know what I mean?
Obviously, too, with like Oz not being there.
Yeah,
obviously their friendship wasn't that strong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Or like, let's not focus on how strong their relationship is. You know,
Oz fell off, man. He bloody fell off.
Oh, he's gone. But before we finish this, it's time for our favorite segment of the series.
Oh, woo!
Do you think that this would fly today?
I could see this flying today. As just like a nice little sweet romantic wedding movie. With obviously with its raunchy moments. I think that you get rid of, obviously, like with the previous movies, it's got some questionable stuff. Like, obviously they would need to update the whole dance gay bar scene and all that. Like, don't have Stifler just start freaking the hell out and really like just portray them as people and not as just cartoonish, But honestly, I could see this movie flying today, I reckon, unless I'm missing something.
I think that you're right. I think that's pretty much the only sort of like problematic thing in this.
I think also with the whole Stifler trying to get with Cadence and all that, even though like he does learn to respect, see her as a person at the end of the movie, I still think it's very sexually motivated and not as much of seeing her as a person still throughout the whole movie, I think.
I don't see that as a problem because of Stifler not being painted as someone with a good depiction of women. Like that's his whole character.
Yeah, that's fair. But I feel like that's also kind of the same with somewhat with maybe not with Finch and all that, because I feel like he'd probably want to fall in love with her and all that, and not just use her for sex. Maybe.
I think that you're right. What you said before.
Maybe I'm just reading it differently.
I think that you're right with what you said before. Is that I don't think that Finch really had much of a connection with her at all. Was more doing it to fuck with Stifler.
Yeah.
And then that doesn't even then his desire for her barely becomes even a matter in the question.
Well, listen,
right?
if I was Finch, I'd be the same, man. I'd just take it back and just enjoy watching Stifler humiliate himself.
I know that you would do that in that situation, you cock block.
Oh, come on, mate.
No,
come on.
Right.
Wow. I'm still on... It's 2 months later, I'm still on trial for this.
Yeah, still on trial.
As deservedly so.
Because you can't... How do you make up for that?
I know.
How do you make up for
I should be guiding your block, not... I should be guiding your cock, not blocking it.
You should be guiding my block and cocking my cock.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, God, what the hell?
But on that note, I think that we should end this wedding and go on to the reception.
Yes, let's bloody do it, mates. I hope that if anyone is at a wedding listening to this, hopefully the bride and groom are having a good time, and no one's grandmother is getting banged by Sean William Scott. And with that mental image in your head, we'll end the episode, and you guys have a lovely night.
And don't forget to check out our Facebook page at MarathonMeOfficial, all one word, and our Instagram, MarathonMe_official, to keep up to date on the podcast. And hey, if you want to get into contact with us, email us at marathonmepodc, yes, the letter C, @gmail.com. Like a podcast without the ask.